All right, buckle up, everybody, because today we were taking a deep dive into the Ethereum Name Service,
ENS.
ENS.
Exactly.
Now, you've probably seen those S names floating around out there.
Yeah.
But ENS, trust me, it's way more than just a way to, show off that you're into crypto.
Right.
We're going to uncover the hidden depths of ENS today, how it's becoming like this essential part of the internet, and honestly, why this tech is worth understanding, even if you're not, like, a crypto wizard.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so to help us on this journey, we've got a ton of ENS documentation.
Ritzy.
We've got blog posts. We even snuck a peek at some of their development updates.
Oh, nice.
And to help us navigate all this, we've got our expert guide.
Happy to be here.
So let's just start with the basics. What is ENS, really?
So at its core, ENS is like a naming system.
Okay.
Similar to, how DNS works for the internet, but it's built on the Ethereum blockchain.
Gotcha.
So you know how you have a contact list on your phone and you just search for a friend's name? And then you find their number. It's kind of like that, but for the decentralized web.
So instead of dealing with those super long and confusing crypto addresses, which are, basically like your account number on the blockchain.
Exactly.
We can use something like, alice.eth.
Exactly. ENS maps those easy-to-remember names
Yeah.
to those long, machine-readable identifiers, like crypto addresses, but also websites,
Okay.
content hashes, really any piece of data that you can imagine.
Oh, wow.
It's like this universal translator for the decentralized internet.
Hold on. So this is way bigger than I even realized. I was thinking ENS was just for, Ethereum addresses.
Yeah.
But you're saying I could have my .eth name point to my website or, my social media profiles, even my NFT collection.
Exactly. Think of it like your .eth is your passport to this whole world.
Oh, wow.
Like your digital identity that works across all these different platforms and blockchain.
That's wild. Okay, but wait, there's more, right? The sources mentioned something about ENS going beyond just CNET names.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what's that about?
It gets even wilder.
Okay.
ENS isn't actually limited to just .eth.
Right.
It can handle any DNS name that you're familiar with, so like .com, .org, even .pizza.
Oh, wow.
As long as it's set up with something called DNSSC.
DNSSEC. Okay, now you're getting a little technical for me.
Sure. So think of DNSSEC kind of like this super secure digital signature for a domain name.
No.
It basically proves without a doubt who owns that specific domain name, like a digital notary, almost verifying like your website's deed.
Gotcha. So it's like a foolproof way to show that you're the real owner of your .com or whatever.
Exactly.
And then ENS can use that to link it to your .if name.
Exactly. And get this. Platforms like, Coinbase Wallet
Yeah.
or the Lens protocol, they're already issuing subdomains under their own DNS names.
Oh, really?
So Coinbase uses .cb.id,
Okay.
Lens uses .lens.xyz, and you've probably seen these and not even realized that it was ENS.
Wait, so I could potentially own, my .com name on the blockchain? You could, yeah.
That's incredible. This could literally change everything.
It really could. It could lead to a future where, domain ownership is completely decentralized, way more secure, all thanks to ENS working with DNSSEC. It's a big deal.
Okay, my head is spinning a little bit, but in a good way.
It's a lot to take.
Yeah, so we've got these names. They can point to all kinds of things.
Right.
How does ENS actually, make the connection? How does it know, where to send my crypto if I use an ENS name?
So ENS uses two main processes, and those are forward resolution and reverse resolution.
Okay.
Think of them like two sides of the same coin.
All right, break it down for me.
So forward resolution is kind of like using that phone contact list example we talked about.
Okay.
You type in the name, and it instantly finds the number. Yep. So with ENS, if you type in a name like, loop.eth into an app, it just knows to find the matching Ethereum wallet address.
That's how those crypto wallets know where to send stuff when you use an ENS name.
Exactly.
And reverse resolution is kind of the opposite. It's almost like having caller ID for the blockchain.
Yeah.
So you see that long cryptic Ethereum address.
Yeah.
But ENS can show you the name that's connected to it.
So much more user-friendly.
Exactly. Way more user-friendly. So instead of seeing a whole screen of just these crazy addresses,
Yeah.
a dApp, which is, one of those applications built on the blockchain, could just show you the ENS names.
That would be a game changer.
Yeah.
That'd make things so much easier for people.
Absolutely. It's all about making the decentralized web as intuitive and as user-friendly as possible. And remember, this is all happening because ENS is built on a blockchain.
Right.
Secure, transparent, censorship-resistant.
I'm starting to see why people are so excited about this. It's way more than just, a cool naming system.
It is, yeah.
It's like this fundamental building block for, like, a totally new internet.
A decentralized and user-friendly internet, yeah.
And we're just getting started. Remember those subdomains we were talking about?
Oh, yeah.
That's where things get really interesting.
Yeah.
So subdomains, it's like, how websites have things like blog.websitename.com?
Yeah, exactly.
So with ENS, if I owned, like, yourname.eth,
yeah.
I could create, like, blog.yourname.eth
Exactly.
pointed to my website.
Exactly.
Or, like, shop.yourname.eth for my store. Or, like, community.yourname.eth for a forum or something.
Exactly. The possibilities are pretty much endless.
It's like having your own little internet kingdom under your .eth.
Yeah, you can kind of think about it that way.
And it gets even more powerful with what are called custom resolvers.
Yes.
So, these are basically pieces of code that let you programmatically issue subdomains.
Yeah.
So you could create a custom naming system within ENS.
Yeah, exactly.
So businesses or online communities or even DAOs, those decentralized autonomous organizations,
right,
they can make their own custom namespaces within ENS.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
It's like creating your own little space on the internet with a totally new set of rules and possibilities.
Okay, this is blowing my mind. We've gone from simple .eth names to this potential revolution in domain ownership.
Yeah.
To, like, building your own online space within ENS.
It's wild, isn't it?
What else is there?
Well, we haven't even talked about one of the biggest, most exciting developments, which is that ENS is going multi-chain.
Multi-chain. Okay, you're going to have to explain that one.
Okay, so think of it this way. Ethereum is like the main highway of the blockchain world.
Gotcha.
But, it can get kind of crowded and expensive, right?
Makes sense.
So developers have created these faster and cheaper roads kind of on top of Ethereum called Layer 2 networks, or L2s.
Okay, L2s. Right, I've heard of those. So how does this relate to ENS?
So here's the big news. ENS is moving some of its core functions over to L2s.
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
Does that mean, like, lower fees to register or renew .names?
You got it. But it's not just about saving money. It's also about giving users more control and flexibility.
Oh, okay. What else does this mean for users?
Well, remember how we talked about those custom resolvers that let you create your own namespaces?
Right.
Well, on L2s, you have even more power to experiment and customize your ENS setup.
So it's like going from, like, a basic website builder to having access to the source code.
That's a really good analogy.
And you can, like, tweak every little detail.
Exactly. You have more fine-grained control over how your ENS name functions and interacts with other applications. And, looking towards the future with this multi-chain development,
right,
your ENS name becomes kind of like this universal ID that works across different blockchain ecosystems.
That's amazing.
It's like having a single key that unlocks a whole universe of decentralized applications and services.
Now that's future-proof.
Right.
Okay, you mentioned one more thing before we started talking about L2s.
Yeah.
That really got my attention. Something about ENS and NFTs.
Oh, yeah, that's where things get even more interesting.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of the ENS name wrapper?
The ENS name wrapper? It rings a bell, but I'm not totally sure.
Okay, it's basically this piece of code that lets you turn your ENS name into an NFT.
Wait, NFTs? Those are like digital art and collectibles, right? What does that have to do with my F name?
Well, think about it. Your NF name is already this totally unique asset, right?
True.
The ENS name wrapper just basically packages it up into an NFT, which opens up so many new possibilities.
Like what?
Well, for one, you could trade your wrapped ENS name on NFT marketplaces just like you trade a piece of digital art.
Oh, wow.
So your ETH name could become this valuable collectible.
That's wild.
But it goes beyond just trading. You could imagine using your wrapped ENS name as collateral in decentralized finance or DeFi protocols, or using it to unlock like special content or access to Web3 apps.
So my ETH name basically becomes this digital asset with real-world value.
Yeah.
All thanks to this ENS name wrapper.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a peek into the future of digital identity and ownership, where your online identity is represented by this one-of-a-kind valuable token that you completely control.
I am blown away. We've barely scratched the surface here.
I know, right?
And I'm already feeling like ENS is this, like, secret weapon waiting to be unlocked.
There's so much more to uncover.
It's incredible. Okay, before we go any further, I think it's time for a quick break. Let our listeners catch their breath, process all this amazing information.
Definitely a good idea.
We'll be back in a moment to dive even deeper into the fascinating world of
I
ENS.
can't wait.
Okay, so before we went on that little break, we were in the middle of talking about ENS going multi-chain with those layer 2 networks.
Right, L2s.
L2s. Can you maybe do a quick recap for anyone who just tuned in?
Sure. So think of those L2s like express lanes on a highway, right?
Okay.
They're basically built on top of Ethereum, and they make transactions a lot faster
Yeah.
and cheaper. Two of the most popular ones are Arbitrum
Yeah, I've heard of that.
and Optimism.
Okay.
And they basically take a lot of the heavy lifting off the main Ethereum chain, so it reduces congestion and fees.
So it's like taking a shortcut to avoid all the traffic.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it.
And ENS is moving some of its operations to these L2s.
Exactly. And that's a big win for users because it means, lower gas fees for things like registering or renewing your ETH name.
Right.
But it's not just about the cost savings.
Oh, what else does it mean?
So moving to L2s gives you a lot more control and flexibility.
Okay.
And remember when we talked about those custom resolvers, like letting you create your own namespaces?
Yeah.
While on L2s, you have even more freedom to experiment and customize your whole ENS experience.
So it's like going from that basic website builder to having access to the source code,
Exactly.
where you can tweak every little detail.
Precisely. You have way more control over how your ENS name works and how it connects with other apps.
Right.
And, when we think about this whole multi-chain future, your ETH name basically becomes this universal ID
Oh, wow.
that works seamlessly across all these different blockchain ecosystems.
So it's like having one key that unlocks a whole universe of different apps and services. That's incredible. Okay, before we start talking about L2s, you mentioned something else that really piqued my interest. Something about ENS and NFTs.
Ah, yes. That's where things get really fascinating. So have you heard of the ENS name wrapper?
The ENS name wrapper. It rings a bell, but can you remind me what that is?
Yeah, so basically it's this code that lets you turn your .eth name into an NFT.
Hold on. NFTs are like digital art or collectibles, right? How does that even work with a .eth name?
Well, think of it this way. Your .eth name is already a totally unique, one-of-a-kind asset.
Yeah, that's true.
The ENS name wrapper just takes it and packages it up as an NFT.
Okay.
And this opens up a whole new world of possibilities.
Like what? Give me some examples.
Well, for one, you could trade your wrapped ENS name on those NFT marketplaces, just like people trade digital art.
So my ETH name could basically become like a valuable collectible.
Exactly. It could, yeah.
It's insane.
It goes even further than just trading, though. You could imagine using your wrapped ENS name as collateral in things like DeFi, those decentralized finance protocols,
Yeah.
or even using it to unlock exclusive content or get access to certain Web3 apps.
So like my name becomes this digital asset that has real world value and utility, all because of this ENS name wrapper.
Exactly. It's pretty amazing, right?
Yeah.
It gives us a glimpse into this future where digital identity and ownership are all rolled into one.
Wow.
Where your online identity is represented by this unique token that you own and control.
This is seriously blowing my mind.
I know, it's wild stuff.
We've barely scratched the surface, and I already feel like ENS is this like hidden superpower waiting to be unleashed.
It's true. There's so much more to it.
I know, it's incredible. Okay, so one thing I wanted to touch on from the sources was they mentioned this bug bounty program.
Oh, yeah. That's another super interesting aspect of ENS.
It is.
They have this really robust bug bounty program. And it's basically a way for them to get security experts from everywhere to help make sure the platform is as safe and secure as possible.
Right. I was looking at some of the details, and they're offering some pretty big rewards for people who can find vulnerabilities, like up to $250,000 for critical smart contract bugs.
Whoa.
And $50,000 for like website or app vulnerabilities.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it shows that they're serious about security.
Yeah, absolutely.
They understand that when you're dealing with people's digital identities and, their assets, security has to be the top priority.
For sure. You can't mess around with that.
Exactly. Speaking of security, I also saw in their development updates that they're integrating with an identity provider called Identity.
Oh, that's a big development. It ties into this whole concept of verifiable credentials, which are basically like digital proofs of your identity
Oh, okay.
that you can then store in your ENS profile.
So it's kind of like having a digital passport that can verify certain information about you.
Yeah,
Like it could be used to verify your age or your nationality
Right.
or even your professional qualifications or your educational background
hmm
without having to reveal like all your personal details.
Exactly. And it's all stored super securely on the blockchain.
Right. Linked to your ENS name.
Yeah, so you have complete control over what you share and who you share it with.
This is incredible. It feels like ENS is constantly pushing the boundaries of what's possible with this whole idea of digital identity and like decentralized tech. It's really inspiring.
It is. It's a good reminder that the future of the internet is being built right now.
Yeah.
And we all have a chance to be a part of it and shape it.
I love that. Okay, I think we've covered a ton of ground today. We started with those basic F names.
Right.
We talked about the complexities of DNS integration and L2 migration,
Tell what?
NFT wrapping, and then we even looked at the whole ecosystem that's growing around ENS.
It's amazing.
It's incredible. It's like, it feels like we're witnessing the birth of a new internet,
I think so too.
one that's decentralized, it puts users first, and it's full of potential.
It's a really exciting time.
It really is. ENS is right at the forefront of this whole revolution, and it's giving people more control over their digital lives than ever before.
Yeah, absolutely.
So to all our listeners out there, if you're even a little bit curious about the future of the internet,
Yeah.
if you believe in this whole idea of decentralization, or if you're just looking for a better online experience,
I mean, who isn't, right?
honestly, then I would highly recommend checking out ENS.
Yeah, it's worth it.
Claim your own elf name, play around with the platform, and see for yourself how this revolutionary technology can, like, empower you.
Absolutely.
We'll be sure to put links to all the resources we talked about today in the show notes.
Perfect.
And remember, the future of the internet is being built right now, and we all have a part to play.
We do.
This has been The Deep Dive. Until next time, keep learning, keep questioning, and keep exploring those frontiers of technology. It's funny, as we're talking about all of this, I keep thinking back to that ENS name wrapper. It feels like the more we learn about ENS, the more potential it has.
It really shows how adaptable it is,
Yeah.
and future-proof it is. The fact that you can just turn your ENS name into an NFT opens up so many possibilities
It really does.
that we haven't even begun to think about yet.
It's like ENS is this blank canvas.
It is.
And with NFTs, it feels like the lines between digital identity and ownership and even art are kind of starting to blur.
It's a really cool intersection of
Yeah.
like technology and creativity.
Yeah, totally.
And it's all because of how decentralized ENS is. Nobody controls it,
Right.
which means it's open for anybody to build on it.
Right. And speaking of building, I was actually looking through their documentation and I saw that they have a grant program,
Oh, yeah, that's right.
which is pretty cool.
The ENS DAO, so that's the group that governs the protocol.
Okay.
They've set aside a bunch of money to support projects that, contribute to the ENS ecosystem.
So it's like venture capital, but for the decentralized internet.
Basically, yeah.
And specifically for ENS.
Yeah, they're funding everything from developer tools and integrations to, like, educational stuff,
Wow.
even community projects.
That's amazing.
It's really cool to see how much energy is being put into building this whole ecosystem.
It feels like more than just like technology.
I know.
It feels like a movement.
It does. It really does. It's like a testament to the power of open source
Right.
and like people working together.
Yeah.
People all over the world are contributing to ENS, bringing all their different skills and ideas to make it better.
And it's making me feel like ENS isn't just for like crypto people.
Yeah.
It feels like it could really impact everyone who uses the internet.
I completely agree. It's about giving people more control
Right.
over their digital identity,
Data.
their data, creating an internet that's more resilient, less susceptible to censorship,
Yeah.
and just creating a more fair and inclusive digital world for everyone.
Well said. I think we've covered a lot of ground today.
Yeah.
We went from the very basics of .eth names.
A lot of ground.
We talked about the complexities of DNS integration, L2 migration, NFT wrapping.
It's a lot to take in.
We even explored the whole ecosystem that's growing around ENS.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
It really is, and I feel like this is just the beginning.
I think so too.
Like we're seeing the birth of a new internet.
It feels that way.
It's decentralized,
Yeah.
it puts users first, and it's full of possibilities.
It's really full of possibilities.
And ENS is leading the way.
Yeah,
It's giving people so much more control over their digital lives than
Yes.
ever before.
I agree.
So, to everyone listening, If you're even a little bit curious about the future of the internet, if you
Yeah.
believe in decentralization,
Yeah.
or if you just want a better online experience,
Who doesn't?
seriously, I would highly encourage you to go check out ENS.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Claim your half name, just play around with it,
Experiment with it.
see how this tech can, empower you.
It's really cool.
It really is. And we'll make sure to include links to all the resources that we mentioned in the show notes. And just remember, the future of the internet is being shaped right now,
Yeah.
and we all get to be a part of it.
We do.
This has been The Deep Dive.
Thanks for having me.
Until next time, keep learning, keep questioning, and keep exploring the frontiers of technology.